Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive into the wild world of AI. It's like drinking from a fire hose out there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you an idea, we've got 7 subreddits, 433 Twitter feeds, and 32 Discord servers we're monitoring.
231 channels, 2,436 messages to be exact. Yeah.
And that's just this week.
Exactly. We're talking over 4 hours of reading and scrolling if you were to tackle it all yourself. And believe me, no one has time for that.
So we've sifted through the noise and pulled out the good stuff, and there were definitely some surprises this time around. A surprisingly quiet AI news cycle around Halloween.
Yeah, kind of eerie, wasn't it?
Almost like the AI was taking a break to recharge.
My theory is it's the calm after the storm. Remember all those big product launches right
That
before?
point, yeah. Makes you wonder what they're cooking up next.
Speaking of deep dives, if you haven't already, check out the latest Latent Space podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They do a great analysis of the LMS and chatbot arena landscape.
Nice. I'll add that to my list. But okay, even though the big players were laying low, something really cool popped up. Small LM2. Tiny language models right on your device.
And they're holding their own.
Yeah, I saw that. Small LM2 actually outperforms Meta's Llama 3.2 1B model, which is crazy because it's so much smaller.
Right. It really challenges the whole bigger's better assumption.
For sure. Now everyone's wondering just how small can you go? I saw some speculation about LLMs with as few as 100,000 parameters producing, coherent text.
The implications are huge. Imagine powerful AI assistants on your phone. No more reliance on the cloud or needing some massive computer.
That's a game changer, especially when it comes to accessibility. Everyone has a phone these days.
Totally. And speaking of shaking things up, Meta's been busy too. They've got some seriously cool robotics innovations coming out.
Oh, yeah. Meta Sparsh. And that MetaDigit 360, the super sensitive artificial fingertip.
It's straight out of science fiction. But when you take a step back and look at the big picture, these advances could really revolutionize entire industries.
Prosthetic.
For sure. But also manufacturing, maybe even surgery someday. Who knows?
It's amazing to think about.
And then there's MobileLLM, another new release from Meta.
Their family of models for mobile.
Exactly. Designed specifically to run on phones and tablets. And they made a surprising discovery. Their 125 million parameter MobileLLM model performs almost as well as the 500 million parameter one.
No way, really?
Yeah. It's another blow to the assumption that you need these massive models
Yeah.
for good performance. This is huge for mobile AI and for efficient computing in general.
So we've got smaller models, efficient models, but let's be real, you still need a lot of power to build and run these things.
That's true, and that's where quantization comes in.
Quantization.
Yeah, think of it like compressing a large file, making it smaller and easier to work with without sacrificing too much data.
So you are losing something, right? There's got to be a trade-off.
Of course, there's always a trade-off. But there's this new algorithm called QTIP. It's enabling huge GE models to run more efficiently with minimal impact on quality. We're talking 405 billion parameters.
Wow, 405 billion. That's mind-boggling. But what does that actually mean for researchers? The people who don't have access to a supercomputer.
This is a game changer for them. QTIP is faster and more effective than other quantization methods, and it only costs $1.60 an hour to run.
That's less than my daily coffee habit, so even the most powerful models are becoming accessible.
Exactly. It's a big step towards democratizing AI.
Okay, so far we've got Tiny LLMs, Meta's robotics push, and QTIP making super powerful AI more accessible. What else is going on out there?
Well, there's been an interesting development with OpenAI. Sam Altman admitted that they're running into some compute limitations.
Really? You don't often see OpenAI admitting to limitations.
That's true. And it's causing delays in their new releases, apparently. It really makes you wonder, are we hitting the limits of current hardware? Or are there other factors at play?
I think we need to unpack that.
Absolutely. We'll dive into the implications of OpenAI's compute challenges and a whole lot more when we come back. Okay, so before we went away, we were talking about OpenAI and, them hitting some roadblocks.
And it really gets you thinking, where do we go from here? If a company like OpenAI is struggling with this, is it a sign that, I don't know, maybe we need a whole new approach to AI development?
It could be, yeah. I mean, these cutting-edge models, they're resource-intensive, to say the least.
No kidding.
So where do we go from here? Well, there are a couple of paths, right? One is, just keep pushing for more powerful hardware.
Like a super-duper computer.
Exactly. We're already seeing companies investing a ton of money in building these next-gen supercomputers, specifically designed for AI.
It's an AI arms race?
In a way, it is, yeah.
But what about that other path you mentioned?
Right, so the other path is all about efficiency.
Okay.
If we can develop models that can, perform just as well or even better, but with fewer parameters,
Right.
then that reduces the computational burden, potentially by a lot.
So, like, that smaller is better trend we're seeing, but, like, on a massive scale.
Exactly. And it brings us back to QTIP, that quantization algorithm.
Right, right.
Because by making it possible to run these huge models, but more efficiently, that could be a key part of making this whole sustainable AI development thing a reality.
This is all fascinating stuff, but I gotta be honest. I do sometimes get lost in the weeds, the technical stuff.
Sure.
Can you, like, ground this for me a little? What would this shift towards efficiency actually look like for the average person?
Okay, so think about it this way. If we can get the cost of running these powerful models down, that opens up a ton of possibilities for, new applications, things that were just impossible before,
Okay.
like AI-powered tools that can help you write better code or design amazing graphics, maybe even compose original music.
And all of that running on my laptop.
Exactly. Not just some far-off research thing anymore, but tools that anyone can use.
Okay, now that's exciting.
It is. It is. And speaking of exciting applications, did you see that demo of the entirely AI-generated gameplay?
Oh, yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, you use a model called Oasis, which is about, I think, 500 million parameters.
Okay, so not quite small LM territory.
Right, not tiny, but still, I mean, generating a real-time gaming experience, that's pretty remarkable.
It is. It is. And it's online, right? People can check it out themselves.
Yeah, the link is oasis.dcart.ai.
Okay, I'm going to have to check that out.
Definitely, yeah.
So we've got AI creating games, composing music, writing code. What's next? I mean, is AI going to be writing our podcast script?
Let's maybe not give them any ideas.
Haha. Good
But
place.
really, it is amazing to see how fast all this is moving
Mm-hmm.
and, how many different ways it's starting to touch our lives.
For sure. For sure. Okay, what else is on the agenda for today's news roundup?
Let's talk about, a new model release from Meta, MobileLLM.
Wait, didn't we already talk about that? The one that, challenges the idea that bigger is always better.
No, that was small LM2. MobileLM it's a family of models that are specifically designed to run efficiently on, mobile devices.
Right. Our phones and tablets.
Exactly. And
And
they've got models ranging in size from 125 million to 1 billion parameters.
I bet even the smaller ones are surprisingly capable, given what we've seen with small M2.
You got it. They actually found that the 125 million parameter model does almost as well as the 500 million parameter model, at least
Wow.
on the, standard benchmarks.
Seriously, that's insane.
It really is. I mean, soon we could have that kind of AI power, just in our pockets.
That is a really cool thought.
It really is. Imagine, AI assistants that can help you with complex tasks or translate languages instantly, maybe even create content, all from your phone.
So I'm sensing a pattern here. We've got these, super powerful, resource-intensive models, but there's also this push for efficiency and accessibility. Like, it's almost like two different paths for AI.
That's a really interesting observation. Yeah.
Like, will those paths converge? Or will they keep splitting and we end up with two totally different futures for AI?
Now, those are questions worth thinking about.
Definitely. Definitely.
And hey, maybe that's a good place to pause for now.
Yeah, we have covered a lot of ground today.
We have, but there's still more to explore. Some big picture stuff.
The big questions.
Exactly. And we'll be back to tackle those, and share some final thoughts in part 3.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up this AI news extravaganza.
Yeah, we've got some big picture stuff to cover. Remember those two divergent paths in AI development we were talking about?
Oh yeah, the push for bigger and more powerful models versus the trend toward efficiency and, making AI accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And the question is, what does this mean for you and me, for everyday people?
Right, because sometimes it's easy to get lost in the technical weeds and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Totally. So let's think about the impact on the workforce. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, recently hinted at a future where AI agents could basically be like our senior coworkers.
Whoa, hold on. Like more than just AI assistants that can schedule our meetings and stuff?
Right. He's talking about AI that can actually collaborate with us, on complex tasks, make decisions, even manage projects.
Okay, now that's both exciting and a little bit scary. I mean, imagine an AI project manager who's always on top of deadlines.
Right. Or an AI research assistant who can synthesize information from, like a million sources in seconds.
But then there's the whole issue of, making sure these AI agents are aligned with our values, our goals.
Absolutely. We don't want to be taking orders from algorithms that aren't, looking out for us. And then there's the question of bias.
Yeah, the bias that's already baked into a lot of AI systems, how do we prevent that from, impacting their decisions, especially when it comes to things like hiring or lending?
It's a huge challenge. And honestly, we don't have all the answers yet. And of course, we can't ignore the big question jobs. What happens to all the people who were doing those jobs before?
Right, if AI can do it faster, cheaper, better.
Exactly. Some experts think AI will actually create more jobs than it displaces, by automating the routine stuff and freeing up humans for more creative work.
That'd be great, but even then, who benefits from those new jobs? Will it be everyone, or just the people who already have the skills and resources to adapt?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's something we need to be thinking about very carefully. We need to be sure everyone benefits from this AI revolution, not just, the tech elite.
So it's not all sunshine and roses. It sounds like there are some serious challenges ahead.
Definitely. And that brings us back to that other big issue we talked about, compute limitations. All this innovation is great, but it seems like the hardware is struggling to keep up.
Yeah, like we're hitting a wall.
In a way, yeah. Sam Altman admitting that OpenAI is having compute problems is a pretty clear sign that, we're pushing the limits of what's currently possible. Training these massive models takes a ton of processing power, and it's only getting more expensive.
So what's the answer? Just build bigger, better supercomputers.
Well, that's one option, and it's definitely happening. But there's also this movement toward more efficient AI models.
Like small M2 and MobileLM, those smaller models we talked about.
Exactly. If we could design models that, get similar performance with fewer parameters, that could really reduce the computational burden.
And that could make AI development more accessible, right? Not
Yeah.
just for the big companies with tons of money.
Absolutely. It's about democratizing access, making sure that the future of AI is shaped by a lot of different voices.
So where does this all leave us? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the big takeaway is that we're at a crossroads. On one hand, AI has the potential to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges, from climate change to healthcare.
Right, like the possibilities are almost limitless.
But on the other hand, we have to be really thoughtful about the ethical implications. We need to make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
And we have to figure out this compute problem. Otherwise, all this amazing potential might be limited by, well, by the hardware.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's a lot to think about, but it's also incredibly exciting. This field is changing so fast, it's hard to predict what's going to happen next.
That's for sure. But one thing's for certain, it's going to be a wild ride. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. Until next time.